is clear and has been found. I'm open and aware of every mystery. I'm letting in the light and it's all shimmery. Standing on my own, my well-balanced home, all centered and grounded. La 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 di da, la 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 di da, la 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 di da di da. I choose to have wisdom, a wisdom that's forever, available to all who choose as a way to come together. I choose to be connected, I choose to have spirit, and let go of heaviness and float just like a feather. I'm open and aware of every mystery. I'm letting in the light and it's all shimmery. Standing on my own, my well-balanced home, centered and grounded. There's a higher to wisdom to tap into. We each learn at our own pace. Doesn't matter how we get there, this ain't a race. La 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 di da, sing along everybody. La 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 di da, la 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 di da di da. La 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 di da, la 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 di da, la 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 di da di da. I'm open and aware of every mystery. I'm letting in the light and it's all shimmery. Standing on my own, my well-balanced home. Standing on my own, this old yoga pose, centered and grounded. La 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 di da, la 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 di da, la 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 di da di da. La 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 di da, la 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 di da, la 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 di da di da.
So that was the amazing and magnificent Kim Yarson with her original music, and she will be back to grace us several times this morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown.
Good morning.
My name is Lori Carlson, and I'm a licensed practitioner here, and I am very honored to facilitate this celebration this morning and to welcome Kim Yarson and the magnificent Reverend Dr. Michelle Wadleigh, who's going to be speaking for us today. So I would just like to welcome everyone who's here in person, everyone who's online. If you're online and watching the replay or watching live, please remember to make a comment, like us, hit, share us, do all that good stuff so that we know that you're there and so that you can feel like a member of our community, because we want you to be a part of this celebration today. So the theme for this year at Center for Spiritual Living is a grand rising. And the theme for this month is power to the people. And the theme of the talk that Reverend Michelle is going to give us is the power of the shadow. What a better way to emphasize the power to the people than to deal with those shadows within, right? So I'm really looking forward to this. And then I will be doing a little practice later and reading a poem and, my stuff. But I'm looking forward to an inspired talk. I'm going to do the announcements later, but I do want to make one announcement now so that you can all think about it, and that's that, in case you didn't remember, after the celebration today, Reverend Michelle will be doing a workshop, and I encourage everyone to register. I will be taking registrations after, and to please stay, because it is an opportunity to really delve into the wisdom that is Dr. Reverend Michelle Wadleigh, and I'm going to be there, and I encourage all of you to stay, and if you're out there online, come, because you don't want to miss it. Okay, so with all that being said, we're going to start with our Namaste practice. So I encourage you to put your hands together in front of your heart and to remember that Namaste means the divinity within me recognizes and honors the divinity within you. So I invite you to turn to someone, maybe several someones, and just say, Namaste. And remember that you are also receiving, you are being seen, and you are receiving being seen. Everyone feel seen? Okay, then we are going to open with the way we always open, with a spiritual mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes if you are comfortable doing so, and to just allow yourself to receive these words as if they were your own. And so I know that there is only one power, one presence, one divine creative source of all that is, the Alpha and the Omega, that which beats my heart and breathes my breath. I know that it is present here right now, in me, in this service, in each one, and in every shadow, which we're going to hear about today. I know that right here, right now, we all step forward with a greater understanding and awareness of opening ourselves to the wisdom about to be revealed. That we are all uplifted and supported and empowered by this beautiful celebration today, by one another, and by the wisdom that we are about to hear. And so I am grateful to know this truth, to affirm this, and to bless this time together. I call it good and very good. I call it sacred. And I know that each one hears something that they take away to be a greater light in the world. And so with deep gratitude and grace and reverence for the sacredness of this time together, I simply let this word go into that law that does unto us as we believe. And so, knowing that it is already done, I simply release it. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. So Reverend Michelle is someone that I have had a long experience with, and I would introduce just off the top of my head, but Reverend Frankie wrote such an amazing introduction to her that I'm going to read it because I just was like, oh my goodness. So Reverend Dr. Michelle Wadleigh is a pragmatic master teacher, and as she unpacks spiritual concepts, they are applicable in everyday life with a strong emphasis on emotional health. She will weave together a talk that speaks to spirituality and metaphysics as the powerhouse formula they are for living a happy, fulfilled life. She's serious about emotional freedom, spiritual liberation, and transcending the hold of humanity while never taking herself too seriously. And I definitely know that about Reverend Michelle. I have done things with her before, and I am really looking forward to this. So, with no further ado, I give you Reverend Dr. Michelle.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's good to be here again. And there are many faces who I do not know today. There's some new faces, maybe people I just haven't seen in a dog's age. How old is that, by the way? A long time. Just found out that a mom here, her child and my child are the same age, and they were growing up in Morristown together, and that was a long time ago. So for those of you who don't know, I am a CSL Morristown baby. This was my roots. This is where I received my training, both as a practitioner and a minister, and I was the ultimate volunteer in that everything that needed to be done, I wanted to do it. I loved the community. I felt like it was my church because I loved it and I showed up for it, and that's where I grew my muscles to be in community, to really strongly be in community. And I have to credit Reverend Frankie because while I had a very early beginning to metaphysics, and it was a very early beginning, because I was never anything else. I was always a metaphysician. But it was when Reverend Frankie, during our practitioner training especially, that's where I got introduced to the Four Agreements. That's where I got introduced to radical forgiveness. That's where I got introduced to the dark side of the light chasers. And all of those things are elements that have actually become the very foundation of my ministry, which isn't even in the pulpit anymore because I left the pulpit at the end of January. And now I'm freelance, moving and flowing around the country and in Canada to do what I do. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to do what I do, and it's wonderful to not do the stuff I was doing. Because, you know, if I had been wise enough, I would have stopped at being a practitioner. You know, because being a practitioner is the good and juicy part in this movement. And even if you're not a licensed practitioner, for me, a practitioner is somebody who says, I believe in possibility, and I don't get distracted by elements, and I don't get distracted by things in front of me. That's what the science of my teaching does. It grows us into people that look past limitation, right, to see possibility. I mean, and I this is the message. I've been everywhere from White Rock, Canada, all over Washington recently, Philadelphia. I mean, I've really been in a number of places. And the message I keep wanting to leave in the minds and hearts of everyone listening to me is that the world needs you right now. You specifically, you. If you're sitting here, if you're listening to me, the truth is, I won't be rude, it's a crapshoot, it's a crap show out there. We're needed. Our consciousness is needed. Our love is needed. Our rising above what we think is evidence. We're needed in the world. So I really can't encourage everyone that I'm sitting in front of enough to stay in community and help to grow the community, because it won't happen without you. But I want to restart with something that I say every Sunday morning when I'm speaking, and I'd like you to repeat after me, if you will. Today is the most glorious day of my life.
Today is the most glorious day of my life.
Lovely, thank you, thank you. And so the power of the shadow. When we were first introduced to the shadow in our studies at the center and in practitioner studies, it was the book, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. And even that, right, the dark side. And then we went through the book, and the book, good book. But if you weren't careful, it left you in a lot of pain. It was all about ripping off the scabs. And so, because I believed in it, I did the work. Well, I was in class. I was a good student, so I had to do what I had to do. But then I required it when I did all my training with all the years of practitioners that I trained. But I would always say to them, never do it alone. Because alone, it could really leave you bloody and in pain. But in a group where you're surrounded by love, then people were more willing to let their underbelly show. You know, anybody have cats? Right? So cats are interesting. You go to rub their belly, and sometimes it's fine, and other times it's like, oh, hell no! Right? And they're scratching at you. Well, our own underbelly's kind of like that. Sometimes we're willing to expose that underbelly, which keeps us feeling pretty authentic and available and open, and sometimes not. But the times when it's not is because we are seeing, feeling, assessing, or judging something as not worthy of being seen, as not lovely. We judge those things that we carry and hide. Gail knows, she's a therapist, right, Gail? This is what we're dealing with. For me, the study of the shadow is a study in unearthing the potency and the power. Because what gets hidden is our potency and our power. And then it starts to look like something else. But you and I have within us the power to make change, and the power to love, and the power to heal. This is not new to you, but there's a measure of that is hiding in the shadow of who you are. So by unearthing that shadow in a loving and kind way, in a loving, kind, and safe way, we suddenly can access and allow these elements that are ours to bubble up, and then we can utilize them. So what I have found, And I talk about the shadow, well, first of all, because I just recently published a book, which was a wonderful thing, because it was my first book that actually was, I got paid to write, which is like, holy cow. Not something I saw in me, but okay, so I did that. And so, but what I wanted different about what I did is I wanted you to do it in bite-sized pieces, and I wanted you to love yourself through it. I wanted you to feel safe through it. I wanted you not to be afraid of what you might find. And so I've done everything I can. I've done everything in that book and in the workshops and everything that I do to have looking at it to seem juicy. I wanted to look and feel juicy, like, ooh, what am I gonna find? Ooh, what's hiding there? Ooh, what can I tap into? Because then you're gonna want to look. Okay, so the rewards of doing the work. And like I said, I was up in Canada, and then I traveled down to Bellingham, Washington. I got taken to this park, Watcom Falls Park. Anybody happen to know it? You don't, right? Oh, you do. Stunning, stunning park. And it feels like a rainforest, and everything is kind of wet. And there's always moss in a forest, which is kind of magical anyway. I'm part of a moss Facebook group. I know, but this Facebook group's for everything. But because I love moss and I love to touch it, and often in my guided meditations, I'll talk about walking on sweet, soft, moist moss, right? But the moss in this forest was up along the trees. And it was so fertile that it was actually growing off the trees like it was hair. So it was not just a little bit. And I found myself having to touch the trees and to, as we were drinking in that cleansed air from the moisture in the air and the sound of the running falls behind us. And I was just in tears regularly, because I don't know what that is, to be perfectly honest. When love is in the air, love is there so much, so strongly, that it just makes you cry. Like beauty has a way of doing that. So my trip out west kept affording me moments of this beauty. And the thing I find that with the work that I've done, the power that's in the shadow is, and let me be clear. The power that's in the shadow is also, it requires the healing of it. It has to be cleaned out. And so what that means is while it's sitting there and it's calling you, and you know how it calls you? It calls you by the ex-husband. It calls you by the boss you don't like. It calls you by your annoying child. It calls you in ailments that keep coming, right? That's how it calls out to you. And it's trying to get your attention. And until we learned to turn into it, we are avoiding it. But when we turn into it, I love the word, I don't know if it's a song before we started recording or not, and you kept calling it shimmery. Right? Is that the word you use?
Shimmer.
A shimmer. And so when we look with the eyes of love and possibility at the shadow, we find a shimmer. When we look at the shadow with fear and doubt, what we find is darkness. So quantum physics says that this was said long before quantum physics, they're just now catching up to us. These scientists think they're so smart. We've been knowing this stuff for a long time. They are just now giving language to things that we have activated ourselves for a very long time. But what we see is what we see with. So if I'm feeling courageous, and I want to untap more of that power of the shadow, I must be willing to look inside of me and to see it with love and acceptance and compassion. And then as I cultivate that inside of myself, seeing myself that way, I'm going to see you that way. I'm going to be less threatened by people. I'm going to be less triggered. I'm going to be less reactive. I didn't bring it with me, and I don't think I brought it with me. Wait, maybe I did. Oh, I did. I'm brilliant. So I'm just going to read a couple of these because it's a long list. So this is a list that I hand out, and it says to do or not do shadow and forgiveness work. So I'll just read a couple of these and see if you would check these off if you had this list in front of you, okay? Do you react to things without knowing why? Raise your hand if you do that. Okay. Do you find yourself automatically not liking someone you just met? Do you get angry but can't get yourself calm once you're angry? Oh, pretty good, okay. Do you ever find yourself being jealous? No. Wow, good group. Juicy, ready for the work. Are you envious of people you know, neighbors, and even people you don't know sometimes? The list goes on. These are very human, very common. These are not extraordinary. There's nothing extraordinary about anything that's here. But what I have found, and I could almost guarantee, now I haven't been around here for a while, and I certainly haven't been in one of Reverend Frankie's classes in a while, but I know she's no joke. She's going to call you out. She's going to say things as they are. She's going to be honest, and she's going to make sure that you are dealing with reality, right? That's Reverend Frankie, okay? So I'm clear that this won't get past her. I'm clear about that. And I also know, because I sit before many people, there's still aspects that hide. We justify them, we qualify them, we have excuses for them, we look away from them, we call them different things. But anything that moves you and I, anything that moves us, God bless, owns us. I want you to catch that. Anything that moves you owns you. Just like in the 4 agreements, to not take anything personally. If I can compliment you and make you feel good about yourself, which is not real, I can also tear you down. So anytime you and I are not grounded in our personal power, we're kind of at the mercy of circumstances. We're at the mercy of conditioning. You with me with this? So I believe, oh man, I have this dream, this want, wish, desire dream that religious scientists everywhere are the individuals that begin to walk the planet so empowered that they are not moved by anything outside themselves. That we are the strong ones in a meeting, that we show up wherever we show up, empowered, empowered, empowered. Not just empowered because, woohoo, I'm hot stuff, but empowered from that deep understanding. I am now and will forever be connected to the One. Forever. I am forever connected to the One. And that One empowers me. And sometimes, though, it gets a little hidden. Anybody got a little human conditioning? It's okay, it's good. But there are things that you and I can do to free ourselves. I mean, when I'm really out talking about my forgiveness work, the word I always use in association with forgiveness work is freedom. The same thing with the shadow. What I have been afforded is freedom to be me, to be the authentic me. I live without excuses so much more than I ever did as I was, in all my years. I don't have to explain myself. I don't make excuses for myself. I don't need you to like me. I don't need you to approve of me. It'd be nice. But it becomes more of a luxury than a want or a need. Because most of us have a couple of addictions. I probably spoke about this last time because I often speak about this. Besides all the obvious addictions, most of us have unconscious addictions to being nice and being liked. Get that?
Yes.
How many things do you not say because you don't want to offend and you want somebody to like you? How often do you alter your reaction because you want someone's approval? Now, some of that might be okay. Sometimes there's appropriate times to shut up. There are appropriate times to not say what's on your mind. Near in-laws and stuff like that, right? But every time you and I do that, we dull ourselves down. And we become inauthentic. And the more we become inauthentic, the more we're feeding the gremlins that live in the shadow. Are you with me? Is this making sense? None of this is wrong, none of this is horrible, but it is the human condition. And the absolute, the distinction is, am I moved by someone's comment to me? Can a commercial, can a political figure cause in me upset or reaction? And any answer to that, any yes to that means, remember Wayne Dyer, what was his first book? Pulling Your Strings, or
Your
what was the name?
erroneous songs. Your erroneous
Well, what was
songs.
then the next one
that
about
was-
having your strings pulled?
Pulling your own strings?
Was he pulling your own strings or something? And Wayne Dyer spoke about it. It's like, do you want to give me the strings to manage your life? Well, hell no. No. And yet some of the things that move us are they're not always easy to recognize. They're just not easy to recognize. But once recognized, the shadow is it is mysterious. It's also powerful. It's also beautiful. But the freedom that comes from doing the shadow work, from doing forgiveness work, the freedom that comes is the freedom to be, to just be, without twisting yourself in a pretzel. Anybody can admit that sometimes you twist yourself into a pretzel? Wouldn't it be nice not to? To not engage someone, to not feel committed to engage someone, to not feel, I'll tell you, I have 2 daughters-in-law now, and I just realized I was going to say 1, but now I have 2, since my 3rd son just got married. And my daughter-in-law has been in my life for a long time. She's unique. She's unique. Her wants and ways of communicating or not communicating have been a source of conversation in my life, and have caused me to need to look inside of myself, because I have to ask myself, why would I let this person I love, and has given me 3 beautiful grandchildren, is a lovely wife to my son, why would I in any way allow the way she's being to cause discomfort in me? And really what it came down to, I just wasn't accepting her way of being. It was my problem. I had to get over it. I had to work on acceptance. I had to cease judging. I had to look at her and go, that's the way she is. It took me a minute. Because I kept wanting from her what I couldn't get. I kept wanting it, and I thought, well, if I ask for it this way, maybe she'll get it. Well, maybe if I ask for it over here, I can get it. None of it worked. And the younger generation, not that they're younger, but they're younger, I'm a proud grandmother, and my preference is if you want me to babysit, I prefer that you call me on the phone, not a text. It didn't change. So either my choice was to love and accept and be with it, or to suffer. I choose not to suffer. What about you? So for me, in this teaching in Science of Mind, we have the most perfect technology for transformation. What is that? Spiritual mind treatment. We are perfectly poised with the perfect, I call it technology because that's what it is. Because if you listen to Joe Dispenza, he's got nothing over what we have. You listen to anything about hypnosis, Ernest Holmes poo-pooed hypnosis, but the truth is he didn't know enough about it. Because hypnosis was my original mode of transformation. That's what I came up through. And if you understand it, you're not afraid of it. And if you understand it, you know how to use it. And if you understand it, you'd also know that it sets off the same bells and whistles in the brain that prayer does. Nothing can fight prayer. Prayer seeps in places within your body, between the cells of your being, where nothing else can interrupt it. And so when we want to evoke the shadow and the power that's there, that's being hidden from us, it is the beautiful technology of spiritual mind treatment where we can unearth it and we can benefit from it, and then we can love ourselves more, because every part of your shadow is a possibility of loving something else about you. And even as you're listening to me, I know your mind is busy. I know. You know how I know? Because I know me that well. And I know what it takes. And I know we are judgmental beings. Can anyone own that? Yes. And yet I'm here to tell you that the practice of non-judgment is the #1 thing that I encourage with all my students and all my classes and all my workshops, even my coaching clients, is to begin with the practice of non-judgment. Why? Because judgment is how we think we are sure about what we know about someone. We get certain. And that certainty doesn't allow us to see the perfection in someone. You with me? Mm-hmm. You're quiet, so I know you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, do I do that? Oh, hell yeah, I know you do. Mm-hmm. Because we all do. We are judgmental beings, and part of that had to do with survival, back, right? Because we wanted to be with our own tribe. And so we had to make judgments, we had to make assessments so that we would find ourselves encircled by people we felt safe with. But that's not really so anymore. It's time for us to release that habit. But taking on that practice leads us, each one, and I say us, because there's nothing I teach that I don't practice, I assure you of that, which is one of the things that I've always loved about Reverend Frankie. She's never an outside, she never teaches outside of what her practice is, right? I know that you know that about her. And so when I begin to cease that habit, I suddenly see things that I couldn't see when I was so certain about my judgments. Lori's been in my classes, you know how much we talk about the practice of non-judgment. It is a critical part of learning who we are, but the freedom. This is the part I want to leave you with the most. Uncovering what's there uncovers beautiful aspects of you. Beautiful, gorgeous, untapped aspects of you that until now, likely, possibly, I don't know, that you haven't felt safe to release. You haven't felt safe to talk about your errors and your transgressions. But I assure you with all of my being that the freer you feel to release it, the freer you are in general in life. A little poem, not to take away from Lori's gorgeous poems that she writes. In quiet depths where shadows play lies beauty dark in soft array. Not floors but layers hidden deep where secrets stir and wisdom sleeps. In silent folds truths softly blend, shadows, whispers, wounds that mend. For in the dark our light is born, as night gives way to softest morn. The workshop today, should you choose to stay, is meant to be for a community of people, so the more that stay, the better it will be. And it's about using our authentic power to shake off some of our conditioned ideas and to arrive, or to ready ourselves to arrive at a place of freedom and beauty and power. So I do hope you stay and participate. Either way, it's okay. Take home one of my books or get on my email list, just because I'd love for you to stay up on it and take one of the courses. They're beautiful. They are beautiful. People come together and they pray together and they work together, and they're stunning. They're stunning, if I say so myself. That sounds so, well, whatever. It's just reality. It's reality. So let us close this with a treatment, if you will. I'd like to invite you, if you're willing, to hold hands with somebody, if you're willing. I just love to invite you to make connection. Oh, lovely. We even got people to get up to do it. Thank you. So let's know together that there is a power and a presence and a love that ebbs and flows and moves. It is powerful. It is glorious. It is beautiful in the most stunning ways possible. And as I speak this word from my I am right now for each of us here, what I know is that my I am and your I am are one. One glorious I am, paving the way for possibility, getting that which is in the way out of the way, revealing the potent and stunning, raw aspects of ourselves, freeing it to be expressed to the degree that you and I can now look in the mirror and declare, oh, I love you as you are and as you are not. I love all aspects of you. I love the good of you. I love the foibles of you. I love it all. And what I know is that we each embrace the wholeness of our being. This becomes our reality and our possibility. I take a breath to allow that to sink in. I know for each one of us here that the consciousness is in the room to accept and allow our good and greater good. It is beautiful, holy, and sacred. Let us embrace it, allow it, and accept it as our reality. Yes? Speak a yes if it's a yes. Yes. And that is our covenant. With a bounty of gratitude for all that is, I do surrender this word to love and to law, and to the awe of life itself. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Michelle, for that fabulous talk. I hope you are all going to stay. I know I'll be here. And now we have Kim Yarson with another beautiful original song.
There's a little glare. Okay, there we go. I kept my voice low, afraid to be bold, lost in the shadows that kept me so cold, chasing strength in my bones no longer restrained. Facing each storm, grounded by grace. Stand in the light where fear has no place. Lighter than ever, I'm ready to soar. I'm weightless, nothing left to hold me down. No heavy heart dragging me to the ground. I'm weightless as I float through the darkest clouds. Peace comes to greet me, acceptance has freed me, faith makes me lighter than air. My soul is weightless. With every smile, a ripple flows. In simple moments, I let my true light show. I'm weightless, nothing left to hold me down. No heavy heart dragging me to the ground. I'm weightless as I float through the darkest clouds. Peace came to greet me, acceptance has freed me, faith made me lighter than air. I am weightless, totally freed. I am weightless, like wings to a breeze. I'm weightless, nothing left to hold me down. No heavy heart dragging me to the ground. I'm weightless as I float through the darkest clouds. Peace came to greet me, acceptance has freed me, fate's made me lighter than air. 'Cause I'm weightless, I'm weightless, I'm
So I'm going to share a poem with you. Of course I am, right? Some of you may have heard it before, but it's so perfect for the topic today that I wanted to share it again. It's called Consider the Corners, and I wrote it last year. The light within shines even brighter next to the shadows in the corners. Those shadows may hide the messiness somewhat, like dust unseen, but are also what we dance with in the light of a sunbeam. Not all shadows are scary or bad. Think of a shadow puppet made with your hand, or the gradations of light and dark that become more than gray as they grow and morph with perspective, giving useful information if we dare to look, like a sundial of what needs healing, or the remains of buried feelings rising up to follow your every move. Because the shadow is something you don't lose, except by changing the intensity and direction of the light. It may cause a fright in the night, but maybe also a smile in the bright of day, sparking imagination with its soft caress, and daring you to look beyond what may seem so clear when near, yet in facing them without fear, you can see something new. The stone quarry that becomes a castle, the tree limb in the wind, a ragged old man. Patterns become possibilities and pathways into who knows what. So before we just sweep them away or hit that switch, let's embrace the fun in seeing the ghost or the witch like an old face or friend, knowing it's there for us to mend those corners within. Life dances in, and with our shadows, we can partner up. Is yours a graceful waltz of memories, or a fiery tango of passionate regrets? Are you jiving to avoid diving into what appears? Line dancing in time to hide among the many? Your shadow joined with others may loom large, but there's a strength in facing it alone. On point, in a delicate ballet, we court the muse of our own discovery, afraid to just let loose and break out into the corners and scars that no longer need determine who we are. Yes, our inner light can brighten the night and create a beacon to guide us home. But our shadows are also tools in the grand dance of life, as we uncover what by stealth or by chance has been hidden from view, caught sometimes in the corner of your eye, or when the sun shines just right. Then why do we hesitate and try so hard not to see what we need to heal to truly be set free? So from deep within, I sense the rumble that turns to a visual roar as I turn toward the increasing gray of what I'm afraid to say out loud. But words can help to dispel the dark and reframe the fear into fascination with the ever-moving molecules of matter that make up this figment of illusion or separation. As me and my shadow are one, me and my shadow can have fun. Me and my shadow can heal and dance into the night, gently shifting with the changing light. As I open my eyes ever wider to see all my shadow has to teach me. Befriending what I once tried to hide, have so long denied and cried over, yet was never really ready to let go of. Those shadow spaces felt so familiar and well-known, such a part of me, now completely outgrown. And so incorporating their dark grace, I let them go into the dance. One step left, one step light. Into those corners, I shine bright and embrace the all of me. And now I have a fun little practice, a short little practice. So Reverend Michelle talked about shining that light into our shadow spaces, right? So look, I'm going to tell you, she was talking about technology, right? I am going to tell you that we all somewhere have that little, is it lit? We all somewhere have, in the back of a cluttered drawer, somewhere where you've forgotten, we have the tools. We have the tools that we can shine into those shadow spaces. Affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment is our biggest tool, but so are workshops, so are books, so are things like doing meditation and contemplating, reaching out to a practitioner when you need it. All of the things that this teaching has given us, the tools that we can use to shine light into those shadow spaces and allow, in a place of love and safety, to allow for healing. So I invite you all right now to close your eyes and to just imagine with me that you have reached into that drawer of tools hidden behind all of those bags that you've saved and pens that you don't use and all that stuff, and you are reaching for that headlight. You are reaching for that tool that can help you to face those places within you that need a little light, a little love, a little healing. So I want you to all take your hands now and put that light up on your forehead. Just imagine yourself putting it there. And now just gently rotate your neck around, look over your shoulder, look up, look down. Just shine that light. Where in your life are the shadows? Where in your life could you look a little bit in a different direction and shine that light? Just sort of imagine yourself doing it. And like Reverend Michelle was talking about, feel the freedom that could bring you. if you could just shine that light of love and compassion with gentle understanding for yourself in a safe space. When you're ready, just know that the tools are there. It's the great thing about this teaching. We have the tools. Spiritual mind treatment, meditation, visualization, visioning, classes, workshops, practitioners, so many things you can use. They're all there for you. Maybe hidden at the back of your junk drawer, but they are there. So I invite you to go forth into your day today, affirming to yourself that you have the tools, and that when you are ready to shine some compassionate, loving light on those shadow spaces in your life, that you will reach for those tools. You will turn on your headlamp, and you will shine that light into the shadows with love and compassion. So, thank you everybody, and now that we are in that place of light and love, it is time for our conscious giving. So, I invite you to fill out an envelope. If you give online, you can just put your hand over the basket and send a blessing, but you can give by text, by Venmo, by PayPal. There's a donate button on our website. Please remember to support those places that fill your spirit. We come here to be filled up, right? To shine that light into our shadow spaces, to know that we are in a safe community. And we can only do that if we continue to support our community and to support one another. So I invite you to give financially, to give in service, to give by sponsoring a social hour. Thank you, Elizabeth Lakowitz, for sponsoring social hour today. And you can give by bringing people to the center, friends, spread the word, pass out flyers for our classes, support our workshops, stay today. There's so many ways. But just give from that place of abundant joy within you that knows that your heart is filled and that the more you give, the more you receive. So I invite you to put your hand over your heart and to repeat this affirmation with me. Divine love consecrates my gift.
Divine love consecrates my gift.
It goes forth to prosper and bless.
It goes forth to prosper and bless.
And comes back to me multiplied abundantly.
And comes back to me multiplied abundantly.
And for this and so much more,
And for this and so much more,
I am grateful.
I am grateful.
And so it
And
is.
so it is.
All right, so before we have Kim with another song, I would just like to make the rest of our announcements. So we have some great things happening here at the center. We have next Sunday, I will be speaking for Reverend Frankie, and our theme for November is Falling into Gratitude, and I will be speaking about finding gratitude even when it feels like there's nothing to be grateful for. So I invite you to come back, and then that day we have a great healing, day of healing. Where's the flyer for that? That Christy has put together for us. I don't see the flyer. But there will be all kinds of, where is the flyer? Oh, here it is, sorry. Okay. We will have 5 rhythms, meditation and medical qigong, restorative yoga, a sound bath with Kat Roman, and ongoing Reiki and spiritual mind treatments available. It is a fundraiser for the center, so please register on Breeze. Please come and support us, and it's going to be a great day of healing. How could it not, right? We'll be all grateful from the service, and then we will come and heal ourselves all together. So I invite you to come back for that. The following Sunday, there's Co-Creating with Nature, an amazing workshop with Fernando Roman, who's going to be showing us how to create art out of nature and stones and sticks and beautiful things, and he's amazing. So I invite you to come for that. Then on the 24th, our own Bill Stone is going to be doing a workshop on dream interpretation, and I invite you to come back for that. And I also just want to remind you, we're in the final days of our 100 days of mindful intention for the election. I do this every day, and even if you haven't done it before, you can still get it, and it is very helpful to keep you in consciousness of knowing our good as we go forward into these, I'm not going to say scary, into these challenging political... Interesting. Thank you, Reverend Michelle. So, there are a few of Reverend Michelle's books up here available for sale. Please see me after to register for the workshop, and I will be available for, you know, I'm not going to miss the chance to do Treatment Express. So I will be available in between the end of service and the beginning of the workshop and our delicious social hour for Treatment Express for anybody who wants it. I think that's about it. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Reverend Michelle. And please take it away.
All right. There you go.
That's my hippie self here.
Some third
I
eye
changed
you got
my
there.
song idea here because I was feeling differently here. Everyone's got their own perception. When we grow up, our history can play games. Perception can sometimes be deception. If you turn something upside down, it won't look the same. You can change your story. There's nothing that went wrong. You grew from every lesson. You know it made you so strong. Don't believe the lies your monkey mind's been telling you. Your life is purely made of God's glory. That's your real life story. Time is now to take a new direction. Let go of all your self-defeating ways. Live your life with purpose and reflection. Take all your old beliefs, wash them down the drain. 'Cause you can change your story. There's nothing that went wrong. You grew from every lesson. No, it made you so strong. Don't believe the lies your monkey mind's been telling you. Your life is purely made of God's glory. And that's your real life story. So embrace, transform, and choose to believe. Actually, let's change that. Embrace, transform, shine your light on all your parts. Make the best of your time here. You can change your story. There's nothing that went wrong. You grew from every lesson. You know it made you so strong. Sing with me. Don't believe the lies your monkey mind's been telling you. Your life is purely made of God's glory. One more time. Don't believe the lies your monkey mind's been telling you. Your life is purely made of God's glory. And that's your real life story. Ah, ooh, yeah. Ah, ooh. That's your real life story.